Hey gorgeous, welcome to Happy Go Fabulous. I am so thrilled that you're here. This is our space where we get real about life, the good, the messy and all the juicy bits in between. Real talk, real life and a whole lot of delicious living. But I must warn you, listening may cause unexpected outbreaks of fabulousness and real life magic. Hi, I'm Catherine and I am so incredibly passionate about helping inspired, motivated, impact-driven, freedom-seeking people just like you to do the deep inner work to create those beautiful outer wonders in life. It's all about revolutionising your relationship with yourself, where you fall madly, deeply in love with who you are and create a life so fabulous you can't wait to jump out of bed every morning to live it. Ready? Because ordinary living is so last season. Life's waiting and it's time to make it fabulous. Let's shimmy on in. Hey gorgeous, how are you? I am feeling so good to be back. It's like getting back on the horse after not having recorded any podcast episodes for almost 12 months. And now I'm starting to get into the rhythm of it and it just feels really good. I hope you were able to listen to the first episode and enjoyed it. That was a little bit of just an update of where I'm at and an overview of Happy Go Fabulous. So same, but slightly different focus of the podcast. So welcome. Today I'm going to chat with you about living my big dream. So the how, the now, and the wow of it all. And this is just something that's really just so fresh in my heart and my world that I really want to share with you the process. And a lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about it and it's life-changing. So this is about living the dream that I've had in my heart for, feels like forever, but specifically, I would say the last 15 years. It's been a really big one-day goal of moving to doing a sea change. So moving from Canberra, where I've lived for 40 years, to then living at the coast. So I just want to share with you that process and my experience. Now, my experience is, doesn't mean it's the only experience about manifestation, but I've devoted a lot of time to, manifesting some amazing things in my life, but also studying the process of manifesting and human behavior and psychology and that neuroscience as well. And so it's not just about, dream it and it will come, even though that's a part of it, but it's about then co-creation. I call it about co-creating with the universe to achieve some beautiful goals. So I want to share that with you this episode. So living my big dream. And I have wanted to live by the ocean for many, many, many years. The beach is my happy place. And I know it's a lot of other people's happy place too, but I really feel at home at the beach and holidays in the sun. My kids, I've got 2 grown-up kids, but they said to me, Mum, why didn't we ever go to the snow or learn to ski? We're only 2 hours from the ski fields in Australia. Why didn't we ever learn to do that? And it's like, well, I don't like the cold and I love the beach. So whenever we went on holidays, they were beach holidays and summer holidays. And when we went overseas, like it was, let's go to beach places or the Mediterranean. And I kind of think, while I'm the parent and paying, then I get to choose. And when I say I mean John as well, that he got to have a say, wink, wink. So I love the beach. I just feel so incredibly alive. So John and I have always, it's always been that one day kind of goal. And our wedding anniversary is in January. So mid-January is the anniversary of when we got married, and we sort of spend that time to celebrate our marriage and our union. But we also think about what we want for the coming year and years ahead. And we've always talked about, it'd be lovely to live at the coast one day, when we retire, when the kids are grown up, when the kids have left home, when that next phase, let's think about living at the coast. And we sort of saw Canberra. There were some opportunities for us to do some different bits through our lives and careers, but we chose to stay in Canberra to raise the kids and to pursue our careers, and then so the coast was a one-day thing. And then I got clarity, I would say maybe about, I can't remember specifically, I think it was 10 or 15 years ago, that I got this urge that I'd been on a couple of different programs and courses that I did, and one in particular was run on a property. It was only small acreage. I think it was only 1-2 acres or something, but they had their retreat centre on the property and they had their house. And I just went, I would love to have a retreat centre, to run events from our home, but have it as a beautiful space that people come to by the ocean, and that there would be accommodation for people to stay. And I just felt, when you kind of have these little murmurings from inside and you have ideas about different things, this murmuring just got stronger and stronger, and it felt like, oh, that feels really good. Right from the time it sort of popped into my head, it was just like, yeah, that's a definite thing I want to have happen in my life. So from that time, I started to think more about what that would feel like and what it would kind of look like. But what could it be? I didn't get really specific back then, but what could it be? If I was running events, people would come, they would stay, they'd have beautiful experiences. I'd get to use my knowledge, skill set, doing the things I love. And I love creating events. I love creating beautiful experiences for other people. And if I could combine that with my coaching and, self-development, and it just felt beautiful. And so it was sort of thinking about, one day when we retire, that's what I would love to do. Love to live by the ocean and run these beautiful events by the ocean. Then, so I started setting my intentions, and I think maybe 5 years ago I started to get specific about what that could look like. So instead of this dream of wouldn't it be nice, it was just like, how could I make that happen? What would it really look like? What would it start to look like? And for those of you who are listening, you won't see this. I'll describe it to you. But for those of you who are watching along on the YouTube channel, you'll see this. I have my vision book, and this book is nearly 16 years old. So it's a book, and at the moment it's got a feather sticking out of it as a bookmark. It's a beautiful book. It's got a fabric cover on it with some birds embroidered onto the front. And then what I did when I was thinking about just my life, the process I go through is to think about my ideal life and in the different segments of life. So if you haven't downloaded the Happiness Health Check, it's got the life, I call it the life well, with all the different areas of life, different wells of life, about filling those wells up. And that if you haven't got a copy of that, you can download it. Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking about that. I'll put the link in the show notes for you. So the Happiness Health Check. And so what I do is I go through each of those areas of life and think about what I want it to look like. And I've done that for many, 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 many years. And I do that each year. I review that about what I want the upcoming year to be like, and is it still current for my, the next years after that. So I go through the process, and in my vision book, I actually write down what I want each of the areas of my life to be like, and I get very specific around that. And then in my vision book, I've had vision boards where I can see it, but this vision book I have right with me at my desk, and I used to carry it around with me. I don't do that so much anymore, but I put images in there, and I started this before Canva was even a thing. I used to do cut and paste off the internet images, and I'd put quotes in there. But this one here are the pages around this sea change that I'm living at the moment. So I had images of what represented the sea change for me. So there is an image of what I want, I would love the place to look like. There are images of it being open and light and bright and airy and spacious. And I sort of thought about what my, the things I would love in the sea change, but how I want to feel. And then the images represent, I wanted it to be on property. So there's an image here of a place on property, and I want it to be cozy. So there's an image there of a fireplace. I want it to be, look really cute. And so there's images there that sort of feel really cute when I look at it. And then on the next pages, I've got images of, a retreat space. So a communal gathering with delicious, beautiful food. And, I want to provide beautiful experiences for people. So the images I've got are all beautiful looking images. And there is an image of a labyrinth. Like, for those of you, I'll probably talk more about the labyrinth in another episode, but there's an image of a labyrinth. I've always wanted to have a labyrinth on this property. And so my vision book played a really big part. And the process I go through is that helps me to get clear about what I want to manifest and bring in and co-create. So I've got the written bit about what I want each of those phases of my areas of my life to look like. And then I've also in my vision book got images that represent all those different phases, but I'm talking specifically about this sea change because that's the dream that I'm living at the moment. So I started setting my intentions. So that's what the vision book is about. It's setting my intentions, and I start to get clarity around that. And I also create ideal scenes. Now, I don't have a copy of that here with me because the one that I created for now is still in storage, and there's a whole lot of stuff still in storage that we haven't unpacked. But what I do is on a separate image book, I create a heart. So I'm just doing a little heart shape here. I draw a heart on the page and I write my goal in the middle. So I am living in a beautiful seaside sanctuary lifestyle centre. So I think that's what I called it. And then the arms coming off the heart are all I am statements. So they all start with, I am living in the most beautiful property close to the beach. I am waking up and hearing the sounds of nature. I am loving every minute of my new surrounds. I am close to the beach and go for a walk along the beach every morning at sunrise. I am divinely guided to live my most beautiful life. I am sitting on the balcony. Actually, this is the one bit that didn't happen because I think it's the only thing that I'd written that didn't end up. But sitting on the veranda and then going for a swim in the pool at the property. We didn't get a pool yet. So I had all these I am statements, and I had lots of them. I wish I could find the image, but there is still some boxes in storage that I haven't gone through yet. So I would go through and just saying, what are all the things that I want in this particular dream goal that I'm calling in. And I'm talking about this seaside sanctuary as an example, but I do this for all the other things that I want to manifest as well. So I create the ideal scene, and that's actually that future focusing, thinking about what do I want in the future? What would I want to be creating? Not do I want to make happen, but what am I creating? What am I actually wanting to call in is the way that I approach it. And then what I also do at that same stage is I create a playlist. I create a playlist on Spotify that I think about what are the songs that represent the feeling that I want to have when I achieve that goal and the process of achieving the goal. And I have got one. I didn't get it prepared earlier, but it's called Retreat Sanctuary. And the first song is Good Vibrations by the Beach Boys. There's Courage to Change by Sia. There's Revival. There's Girl on Fire. There's Believer. And there's a whole lot of Let's Go. Anyway, I won't sing those. But there's a whole lot of songs that get me in to the state of how I want to feel in when I've achieved my goal, but the process of creating it and co-creating it. So, and I am a very specific manifester. So, and this is part of human design when we're looking at the perspectives that we have. There are specific manifestors and there are non-specific. And, if you're interested in finding more out about your human design, I'll put that into the show notes as well, because I use that as a basis for some of the coaching that I do. And you can do standalone sessions as well. Really cool, very, very powerful. But anyway, I'm a specific manifester. So I work well. I can manifest things when I get very, very specific about what I want and get clear. There's a general process that works for everybody. And if you Google manifesting, there's a squillion ways to do it, but there are some really key things that I find work, whether we're specific or non-specific. If you're more of a non-specific manifester, it's about being more general, not having the more about the vibe of what you want, whereas I like to have and be very clear about the details of what I'm calling in. So that works well for me. So the process that we went through to get our beautiful dream seaside sanctuary is John and I, a couple of years ago, because we had this, one day when we retire goal. Well, guess what? That one day is getting pretty close. Actually, it's happened for John. But anyway, so a couple of years ago, we said, okay, if we're wanting to live at the coast when we retire, what's that going to look like? So we both started getting much more specific than my vision book started with. We started getting much more specific. And it was about, well, what do each of us want in this next phase of life? And it wasn't just about where we're going to live, but what do we want this next phase of life to be like? And we came up with a criteria, and we kind of rated the criteria that I wanted to be near the beach. John's kind of like, yeah, that'd be nice, but I wanted to be within, ideally, walking distance. Ideally, I would walk out of my house onto the beach. But then I sort of went, well, I want to be within a 10-minute drive to the beach. I don't want to be somewhere that I've got to get in the car and drive half an hour to get to the beach, because for me, it's really important that I can get to the beach for sunrise in the morning and take Bosty for a walk. So I didn't want to be driving for, half an hour or an hour to get to the beach. I didn't want to be up in the mountains. I actually wanted to be close, if not on the beach or in the beach. So that was my top priority. And also it was about being on some land that I sort of went, 3-5 acres would be ideal. And then I sort of went down, I triaged my criteria. So they were the top ones. The place needed to be big enough for people family to come and visit, friends to come and visit. And then ideally it would have accommodation for me to run retreats and events in a space that I could be running the events from the property. That was really important as well. And that it had a really beautiful vibe to it, that I wanted wherever we go, that people came and they go, oh, this just feels so beautiful and peaceful. And then John's criteria was he wanted to be within sort of a 20-minute, half an hour maximum drive to an airport so he could fly ultralights. He used to fly ultralights. He used to do powered parachutes, but he wanted to be half an hour. So that was going to be an important recreation for him in his retirement. He doesn't have an ultralight, but his goal is to get one. So we sort of went, okay, if this is our requirement, so we both live in Canberra, and we sort of went, well, where would we like to be? If it's on the coast, if there needs to be an airport. And I remember the holidays that we had probably 4 years ago. I think it was just after COVID shut down when I had Blossom the bus, that we said, okay, let's go for a bit of a drive along the coast and get a sense of where we might like to live. And we went Wollongong, and that was just like, this doesn't quite feel right. Then we started, and I didn't really want to go north of Sydney. That was also part of our criteria. I've grown up in country New South Wales, lived in Canberra, south coast of New South Wales, kind of felt like that was a place. Didn't want to go to Queensland or anywhere. So we're starting to narrow our criteria down. Then we got in the car and in the bus, and when we started going further south than Wollongong, it felt really good. And we just went down this road, and I went, John, I think this feels like it. It was around, for those of you who know, Berry and Shoalhaven. And we drove down this road, and there was this sign on a block of land. I said, John, I feel like I've been here before. And I hadn't. And it had this property sign, and it had a big CB on it. And my name's Catherine Bowyer. And I said, John, I think that sign is that block of land is ours. And he's going, what the fuck? Like, what are you even talking about? And I said, I think this is the spot. And then we investigated some other places, and I said, I think that's it. And he's like, well, it's probably a little bit far from an airport for him. It was maybe a 10-minute drive to the beach, and it was in a location that it sort of met all of our criteria. And then we started looking at property prices. But we went, you know what? We're not quite ready yet. This was, like I said, 4 years ago. We hadn't made a definite date as to when we say we retire. I'm not retiring yet, but just when we move into that next phase of life. And then we sort of looked at the map, and he said, I think around Maruya would be really cool, a little bit further south. He said, because there's an airport there and there's lots of land and it's not quite as expensive. And I went, oh, actually, that feels really good. And then we sort of just, I did more work kind of going, I know that we're going to be retiring. So each morning I would look at my vision book, I would look at my ideal scene, and I would get much more specific about that and what the requirements, what each of us wanted there. And I would really start to visualize. And when it was about, so me being a specific manifestor, it was almost like I need to know the location so I can then get the manifestation juices going. And I'm not very patient either. So I went, okay, let's kind of get a sense of where we might like, let's go and have a look around Maruya. And we sort of put as far south as we wanted to go, and, you know, the perimeter of where we wanted to go. And in the meantime, parallel, I guess, my daughter, Ellie, was living on the south coast as well. And we went and stayed with her. She was living in Bateman's Bay. We went and stayed with her, and we said, let's go for a drive around and just check out the places we'd like to go. And we sort of saw a few places that were listed for sale, and we drove around the area. And there was some that I just went, nah, there's no way. I do not want it. Nah. And John's going, what do you even mean? I could feel it. I knew within my bones that that's not where I wanted to be. He's much more accommodating, but he also was pretty clear about what he wanted as well and what he didn't want. And then we came on this area around where we'd like to live. And I went, yep, it's almost like my body radar. I don't know, my compass could go, yep, this is the area that we want to live. And then the process of, putting the house on the market, that was at the beginning of last year. We did that. So the more, I guess, the closer we got to the date, and we went and saw our financial advisor over the last couple of years, and he gave us some, advice about when would be a good time to retire. So the end of 2024 was this is the date. So we start to put stuff really, really in motion at the end of 2023 about getting the house ready to put on the market. And then 2024 was about, let's now really put this plan into action. And it was about every morning, my process, I'm just going to, I would look at my vision book. I would listen to my soundtrack, and I would get myself into that state of seeing myself living in our ideal home. Even though I didn't know what my ideal home was, I had enough details around that. And I would look at my ideal scene. I would do meditations each day. So I have a morning routine that I follow anyway. And it's about giving thanks. It's about connecting with my higher self. It's about calling in my spiritual team. It's about, being in alignment with my, my important goals for life. And then I go through a process of what are the specific things I'm calling in. And, what are the smaller goals? What are the bigger goals? So then I would go through a very active process of, this is, we're calling in this new house and this new lifestyle. And I asked for what I wanted. So I guess when we're thinking about a manifesting process, there are some general principles, Then there will be some specific things that people, I think, is good for individuals to do. As I said, I'm very specific. I like to know the details so I can then visualize the details, and that's where the real power happens for me. Now, I know that's not for everybody. There are some people that I work with that when we talk about vision books and vision boards, they're just going, nah, that does not inspire or motivate them. But when they talk about how they want to feel and get a general sense of what they're wanting, that's what lights them up. So the key steps, I guess, if I'm going to go through those with you, I give thanks for what I already have. That's the first step. I think gratitude is one of the real powerful elements of manifestation. It's giving thanks for what I already have and giving thanks for what's coming my way. So I think if we're expecting things to happen, that brings a completely different energy. So I give thanks for what I already have and acknowledge that. And then I'm also already giving thanks for the beautiful home and lifestyle sanctuary and lifestyle that's coming my way. Thank you, universe, for that. I get really clear about what I want, and I think I've described that to you. Others will be more general in what it is. So for me, it's about living on 5 acres, 5 minutes, 10 minutes from the beach, living in a specific location, and having a venue so I can run retreats. Whereas other people might, their manifestation, if they're non-specific, might be, I live on the coast in a place that feels really lovely and that I have access to the beach, that I, when I need to, and it's not to say that non-specific manifestors are wishy-washy, they just have a different energy that goes with it. So if you want to know more about that, I can definitely talk to you about that with human design. So I get clear about what I want, and then I ask for it. I actually ask the universe. So when I go through my ideal scene and then through my meditation, I say, this is what I'm actually calling in. This is what I would love to eventuate. and I would love it by a certain date, and I'd love it to look like this. So by me getting clear about my ideal scenes is part of me in that asking process. And so they're planting the seeds, and I'm not kind of going, oh shit, has it happened yet? Has it happened yet? I allow and I trust the process. And I always ask when I am specific about what I want, setting my intentions, and I say, this or something better for the highest good of all concerned. Because sometimes when we're asking and we're trying to make things and force things happen, that might not be the best outcome. And we might be limiting ourselves. So I always ask for this or something better for the highest good of all concerned. And then I trust, I surrender, and being open to receiving, allowing it to come. And I'll be really, really honest with you, that part has been hard for me right now. And, given what has happened during the year, but aside from that, I had to do a lot of mindset stuff. I have this pattern of it's not okay to have nice things, or it's not okay to deserve to have this beautiful lifestyle. And I've been working on that. That's a recurring pattern for me. And it reared its head when I was thinking about this dream as well. There was a lot of those gremlins that came in going, yeah, you don't deserve that. And I really did a lot of work around that. So it's okay to receive beautiful things in my life. Trusting, surrendering, and giving thanks for all the steps along the way. And when I receive the beautiful outcome. So when I sit there at the moment, and you'll see me, for those of you that are looking on YouTube, you'll see me looking off into the distance. My office is here, and I'm looking out the window in nature, and the kangaroos are just out there at the moment. And I just go, oh my gosh, I am just so incredibly thankful for this. And I give thanks. And then part of my manifesting process is also to give back. It's about going, thank you, universe, for providing this for me. I also give back in way of thanks and offerings and ritual, and also what I'm here to do in this lifetime. So helping other people to live their beautiful lives as well is a way for me to give thanks and to give back for what I have, and to celebrate. And that's what I'm really doing at the moment, is allowing myself and acknowledging I have created this with the universe, and it is just incredibly amazingly. So that's, I guess, the process. That's the how. The now is just so amazing. I just pinch myself. As soon as we saw this place, we knew it. And we looked at a couple of others, but I just went, no. And when John and I came to this place, we went, yeah, no, this is the one. And when we left Canberra, so in July, we moved in here, and it worked out almost exactly. My vision was that we would sell our place early in the year. We would get the money from that. Then we would find a place straight away, that we would move in halfway through the year. And that would coincide with John's school holidays. He would take long service leave for 3 months, then come back to Canberra and for his final term of teaching, and then retire at the end of 2024. It almost worked out to the day. It was 4 days between when we settled on our place in Canberra and when we settled on this place. And there were so many, I guess, that surrendering piece. A lot of people were saying, what happens if you sell your place early? Where are you going to live? And it's just like, it will work out. And we had a girlfriend, one of John's teacher friends, said, I've got a spare room. You can come and stay with me whenever you want. Like, it can be for a year. It can be for a week. And that really helped us, because then we went, well, we've got that place when we need it. And we stayed with her for 2 weeks in between packing up our house and moving into the other one. And John has stayed with her when he's been back in Canberra for term 4 teaching, and I stay when I go back to do work, and it's just perfect. And I could not have planned that. It was just in response. I just went, I know that we'll be looked after. That was part of my I am statement on my ideal scene. I am trusting that we have somewhere and we're looked after in this process. But one of the pinch me moments when I left Canberra, it was a cold, wintry day and driving out of Canberra, and I was listening to my playlist that I had been listening to for the years leading up to this about, the manifesting process. But I listened to it and I cried in the car going, oh my God, I have created this. And those songs had such a different, powerful meaning. They are a affirmation of my ability to manifest on a big scale. And I just cried all the way down the mountain. And then when I stopped crying, I drove here to the house. John and I drove in separate cars because we still had, stuff that we're bringing with us. And when I drove the driveway, we're on a private road, and I stopped at the beginning of our property and I just gave so much thanks for achieving such a beautiful, something that I had dreamed about for so long. And the feeling through my whole body and whole DNA of celebration and love that I'd created this. And it was just, the allowing it to happen was just so incredibly beautiful. And living here is so much more than I ever imagined. Remember I said that I asked for this or something better. This was so much better than even what I had thought. It doesn't, you know what? The place doesn't look exactly like I have in my vision book, but the essence of it is so much more. Like, we're on property. It is spacious. It is a place of, I've called the property Ananda, which is Sanskrit for bliss and joy, because that's what this property gives me. And also all the people that come and visit. It doesn't have a pool and it doesn't have the accommodation for people to come and stay that I had visioned in my mind, that there would be accommodation for, groups of 10 or so. But that's okay. It has space to run events, beautiful events. It has space to run small little retreats for a few people to come, and my life is unfolding anyway, so that's completely okay, and I'm just trusting that that's all okay. So it is, and it's a beautiful, we've had Christmas here with our family, and it was a beautiful central place for people to just hang out and be. So I guess in so much more than I could ever have imagined, just such a beautiful experience and continuing. The biggest lessons for me have been about trusting and surrendering and allowing myself to receive. That the asking for, I can do that bit, but allowing myself to receive it and just to be rewarded in life. And so the key steps for me are to give thanks for what I already have and what's coming my way, to get clear about what I want, to ask for what I want, to allow and be open, and to surrender and trust, to celebrate and to give thanks for what I've received, to give back, and also to take aligned action. Like I do sit at home in Canberra and go, oh, I'm dreaming this and listening to music. I took a lot of action as well, that I did stuff, it was pretty easy action because it was aligned. It was with what I wanted. So there was no forcing at all. There was just a whole lot of allowing it to happen. And I devoted myself to this process. I devoted bringing this dream alive. And it's about every day for, I would say, definitely the last 4 years, I have been devoted to this, not just this, but I have been devoted to bringing this into my reality. And a lot of it has been about, how do I want to feel and how do I not want to feel? And what would I love it to be? So if you want to come and visit, I would love that. Oh, actually, one of the other bits that I did with the manifesting a couple of years, and you probably may or may not know this, but I got some signature essential oils, perfume oils created by a gorgeous friend of mine, Dee Calder from Canberra. And it's a Happiness Hive blend. There's 5 of them, 5 separate ones. There's a happy blend. There's a self-love. There's a being you blend. There is also a new beginnings blend. But there's a manifest blend, and manifest has in it sweet orange, clary sage, geranium, and ginger. So I went through a process with Dee and chose the oils and the essence of what I want this for. And the affirmation that I created to go with this is, I am the creator of my reality and I am creating the magical life of my dreams. So in addition, oh my God, that just brings me right into, I'm just, for those of you who are not watching, I'm just rolling the oil on at the moment and it smells divine. When I would look at my vision book and play my playlist, I would also have my manifest oil in that manifesting mode. So you can purchase this if you want. It's not on my website, So if you're interested, shoot me a message and I will let you know about the oils. I have those. And so if you want to come and visit, we're on the New South Wales South Coast. Its little area is called Bingie, Bingie. It's 15 minutes south of Moruya, which is 40 minutes south of Bateman's Bay. I have the beautiful build your own breaks. So as I said to you before, I have space for a couple of people to come and stay. So you can build your own break, your DIY retreat. And I want to share this beautiful place. And you also get coaching or an option of coaching or healing sessions while you're here, and just a beautiful breakaway. It really is amazing. It is so incredibly amazing. It feels, everybody that has stayed here has said there is something magical about the area that we're on. And you can also download my free resource. It's called Stop Chasing, Start a Track. And there are some steps in there about manifesting processes. Probably a few different ones that I've talked about here because my process has evolved somewhat. And so you can download that. And also, if you're interested in finding out more about whether you're a specific manifestor or a non-specific, or about human design, I do human design readings and consultations, and you can incorporate that for personal or your business. Hugely powerful for your business. And also don't forget the happiness health check. That's when I talked about the different wheels of life. You can download that. That's a completely free resource. So love and happiness to you, and share what you've been able to manifest in your life. Like, pop it in the comments, send me and I would love that. I would love to hear from you. So hugs, happiness, and go and be fabulous. Thanks for tuning in to Happy Go Fabulous. I hope you loved it. If you did, could I ask a big favour? Please subscribe, leave a review, and most importantly, share the love and let your besties know about the podcast. This will help get it into the hearts and ears of all the gorgeous souls who need a little bit of fabulous in their life. If you'd like some more high vibe happiness in your life, come and visit me on my Happiness Hive socials, and make sure you've signed up to my newsletter, your weekly drop of juicy goodness. Pop over to my Happiness Hive website and click on the link Working with Catherine. I'd love to help you make life amazing. Until next time, keep being fabulous.